Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. It's me, Jordan and Shannon, and as always, I'm joined by Kieran Powell. How are you, Kai?
Very good, man. West Indies starting off a series in New Zealand with a victory. Don't know if that's not happening in my lifetime anyway. So, no, very, very good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. It was a brilliant team performance. Brilliant. Oh, do you know?
Yeah, I think. I guess the pros and cons of playing back-to-back series. Obviously, the guys will be tired, still acclimatizing, jet lag, all these other things. But coming off of the back of cricket, coming off of the back of playing T20 cricket, so being in that format definitely helped. I think Roston with back-to-back man of the match performances now in the last two games. Shai with back as well. So I think West Indies are trending in the right direction. Obviously, there are a few changes I would make throughout the series, but amazing start to the series, and that puts them in line for, as we said, hopefully a 3-2 series victory. Obviously, New Zealand are going to come back. You see that they didn't just give up at the end of this match. Came down a lot closer for comfort than most would have liked, but the most important thing is getting the victory in conditions that the West Indies are not used to getting a victory. So that now will give the West Indies a lot of confidence that they can take this forward into the rest of the series.
Yeah, definitely. I think from when I was watching the game, I felt as though at 43 for 3, they were under it, and to do what, to get that total and post that total, they showed some real heart. And, Shai obviously batted as we do, and you've said obviously numerous times, he's just doing what Shai does. And like you said, with with Roston chipping in, and then obviously with Rovman Powell as well towards the back end, they've managed to get that total. Which did you think that was competitive or not at halfway stage?
Well, let me preface this by saying I was not up at 6:15 watching this match.
Right.
I woke up at 12:30 or 1 o'clock this afternoon, because I go to bed pretty late, because obviously working in American time zone and what's not. But the benefits of having Amazon Prime, I watched the entire game back when I woke up, so I did see everything. 160, it looked to me as though the pitch was difficult to bat early on for both sides. Because obviously Auckland is a very small ground. It's a football ground that they still play cricket in. So it's a very small ground, especially the straight boundaries. Hence, you've seen both teams try to go into the wicket or full and wide and try to force each other to hit square, with the boundaries a bit longer, not that much longer, but a bit longer. I think what Shai did really well is he bided his time. Obviously didn't get much, but when he got the spinners bowling full and wide, when the ball sat up a bit, he sort of hit it straight back down the ground, taking advantage of the short boundaries and getting sixes straight back. I think that obviously with the first two games being back-to-back, both teams would have seen each other and will plan very quickly how to counteract what both teams have done. I think Shai and the partnership with Roston is very crucial for that stage of the game. And I think that Shai and Rovman are playing pretty much at the apex of their T20 powers right now. I think Rovman's innings may not get as much glorification, obviously because it's only 30 odd, but I think you look at the strike rate at which he batted it, the impetus that he added to the innings for West Indies to cap off, to get to that total, was very important, and he's continued to be effective throughout the 2025 year. So I think those two guys, obviously along with Roston, played a key pivotal role in the West Indies getting to that total, which I do think was competitive based on, obviously small dimension of the ground, but the pitch being a bit tricky to get in on for both sides.
The only thing I thought the halfway mark was, I totally agree with what you're saying. It was just the batting depth that New Zealand have, and it sort of came prevalent a little bit with obviously Santner scoring a 55, batting at 8 really. So that's one thing obviously going into tomorrow's game, is understanding the depth of batting that they have.
And I think obviously not just because you had Neesham and all these other guys as well. Below Santner, I know that New Zealand will think as though if they can get one of their top order batters or two of their top order batters to get in and contribute, obviously then that exacerbates what happened today in terms of leaving it to the end for Santner. I think that Santner played well. For me, the question mark is not Matthew Ford as a cricketer, but Matthew Ford in that situation. Now, I understand you have to put people in those situations for them to learn, but I think that what we've seen this year from Matthew Ford is if there's a bit of swing and offer, he's excellent in those conditions. And I think that Matthew Ford, Jaden Seals, and Jason Holder all prefer to have the newer ball at hand. And so the West Indies now have to figure out who is the most likely to strike up front, and then who can we sort of train to be back-end bowlers. I don't think Matthew Ford is that, because he doesn't have that many other skills to his repertoire. And he's not express pace. He's obviously the slowest of the lot. And we saw him sort of get taken down in England and Ireland because of the lack of pace and lack of movement through the middle and the back. So I would be looking to get, as they do with Akil Hussain in spinning conditions, I'll be looking to get as much as Matthew Ford overs out of the way up front. Sort of spell the next 3 overs in the power play between Jason and Jaden. Obviously, I think Jason's going to have to play a bit more of a role given this team through the middle and the back end. Jaden through the front and through the middle, and Matthew Ford up front. And then you have obviously your Roston Chase, your Mario Shepherd. I think it was great to see the versatility that West Indies showed in Akil Hussain being the primary bowler for the team, only bowling 1 over. And West Indies still managing to get a win. I think that shows great depth, great versatility. I think that Shai showed great awareness and maturity in his captaincy, not just going for the same old, but sort of playing conditions. And as I said, for your primary bowler to bowl 1 over, you really have to look at conditions and say, okay, you are our best bowlers, but the dimension of the ground, them having 6 left-handed batters, it's just not in your favor on this particular field. And so I'll go with my other options and mix and match them. So ultimately, it was a good holistic approach and performance from the West Indies.
No, I'm totally with you with everything you said there. And I wanted to make a point about Shai's captaincy as well. And I totally agree with you. To do what he did, which is, it's a ballsy move to leave your premium, bowler, and this is a consistent bowler over this format for a long, long time. To do that, and I think that gives that confidence in the quicks as well. You know who you've got in your arsenal, but Shai is sticking with me, and I'm going with that. And I agree what you said about Matthew Ford, and I think that's one thing they'll look to, to figure out. And again, it's within it's one of that group of bowlers to put the hand up and say, you know what, I'll take the last 2, or I'll take the last 1 at that. That's then. Especially when you're going into a World Cup, you need to have those backups and those ones where who knows that if it's not in spinning conditions in Asia, I'm going to go with Jaden Seals. He's my death bowler, and that's what and then the plans come into place. So
and how I would sort of work it is Jason has to have 2 for the last 4 overs. Well, Jason has to have 2 of the last 3 overs. Romario Shepherd and Jaden Seals also have to have at least 1 over available of those last 4 overs. And then you sort of work your overs throughout the rest of the bowlers for the rest of the innings that way.
No, I'm with you. No, I'm looking forward to seeing how the other T20 goes now, especially with the series, because they've put a marker down there now. And obviously New Zealand will be wanting to respond. So it's good to see how it pans out.
And you expect a response from New Zealand, but I also expect a response from the West Indies as well. And, obviously I sent through those notes.
Oh, of course,
in the chat. I expect, what I would do, let me not say I expect, because these guys have been on tour pretty much from since Ireland. I mean, obviously went back home, but you're not at home. You're touring through CPL, and then as soon as CPL's finished, they're back to India, to Bangladesh, now to New Zealand. So they've been on tour for 8 months or something. So for me, the next 2 matches, I'll rest Brandon King. Not anything to do with performances or anything. And obviously people are looking at his performances, but you also have to realize that Brandon King is now playing Test cricket as well. So where he would have had those breaks in tours to go home and rejuvenate even for a 2-3 period, that's no longer. So just to give him a refresher, obviously going into the 50 over series and the Test match series, I'll rest him for the next 2 matches. Bring Ame Django in at the top of the order. I will also take the gloves from Shai Hope. Give Shai a bit of a chance to rest. I think for me, I'll try to get through the first 3 games and then give Shai a rest. it may not be for the last two, but at least for the fourth game, because he needs to be fresh as well going into that 50 over and test series. And then Jaden Seals and Roston Chase, I'll mix and match throughout the series and figure out the best ways possible to give them a break as well. Something I would like to see as well implemented by the West Indies is Rovman Powell bowling again. I don't need him to be bowling 4 overs in a match, but if he can give me 1 or 2 overs as an extra option, then that sorts of widens the pool of players and I guess lineups that the West Indies can go with. Because you know that if a bowler has an off day or a bad day, he can cover 1 or 2 overs and get through an innings. So I'd like to see Rovman Powell bowling in, especially in conditions like these that are seam friendly. His bowling obviously starts building up from now, so that you get into slower, lower pitches in Asia for the T20 World Cup. He'll be at least up and running a lot more. So you bring him back in favorable conditions like this, and it widens the depth of player pool that the West Indies can go for, because then you don't necessarily need another all-rounder. You can go for an ex-out-and-out batter or an ex-out-and-out full-strength bowler and change your combinations as well. So those are just some things that I'd like to see. Happy that Sherfane Rutherford was rested. I mean, obviously they said he was ill. I wouldn't select Sherfane Rutherford until the 4th T20 as well. I'd let him get better from his illness, but let him have a break from cricket as we suggested, because these guys are playing a lot of cricket. So you have to mix and match and rotate these guys that I've mentioned, because these are primarily your all-format players. And then you look at the likes of a Rovman Powell and a Jason Holder to carry the team in terms of seniority and lead the way. Romario, Shepherd, etc. Akil Hussain to lead the way for the younger guys coming in and keep the standard and set the benchmark as to what the team is looking to achieve.
I'm completely with you. And like I said, it is all about game management now, and it's having that bigger picture leading into the test matches. It's leading into, it's looking after them, because it's all about this high performance and maintaining that level of high performance. So, you meant the point there. I didn't even think about the idea of Rovman Powell bowling, but when you think about the impact that could have on the side going into a World Cup, like you said, gives you that extra batter or that extra bowler, it's worth its weight in gold. And he's flying high in confidence at the minute as well, so...
100%. And then that gives you the opportunity to continue playing an Aki Mogis. That gives you the opportunity to continue playing an Amir Jangu. That gives you the opportunity to continue playing an Alec Athens, where these young guys continue to get international game time, exposure and experience, whilst developing the younger core and still having your senior core fresh and ready to go when you need them, most importantly.
No, totally. See how it goes, though. Hopefully they take on board what we're talking about, what you're talking about especially. But let us know what you think, guys. What you think to the start of the series and how do you see it panning out. Obviously, Kieran will keep getting back to you. But thank you very much, guys, for joining us on another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. Thank you.